I come from a country, Italy, that that has no rock. There's no rock music. There's no rock music in the charts. There's no rock music in the radio, apart from old rock, classic rock, which I don't think it helps. My channel tries to stand out in a different way, and to play new music, because I believe you have to build new classics, not always leave out of old classics. But when we tend to do rock here, the reference we take, or most bands take, is probably late 80s, early 90s, kind of, let's say, stereotype rock. When I listen to music coming out of Ireland, Northern Ireland, UK, Great Britain in general, it's outstanding. It's like, what are your references? Why are you doing stuff that it's not obsolete?
Well, I think for New Pagans, we've got quite a broad. We all like different music. It's not just rock music that we like. But for me personally, like, I grew up in the noughties as a teenager, and it was bands like Sonic Youth, but I discovered them kind of after they'd been massive. So it is old music, but there's some bands like Sonic Youth and PJ Harvey and the Pixies. You hear it for the first time and it still sounds really fresh. So I think that's the kind of music that I love. I don't know if Claire's answer would be different, or why she thinks that it's different in the UK.
No, I think you're right. I think bands that we listened to when we were younger still don't sound they're not outdated. They still sound relevant.
Yeah.
So I guess that
we don't know why that is. Maybe it's because like bands like Sonic Youth were really experimental, and I think that's somewhere where New Pagans we feel like we've created this album that, like you said, we feel like it's a solidly good album, but we're kind of interested to take it further and see where we can go with it as well. So, but always we love this. We just love rock music, so, and indie rock and all the rock music. So why would we create something different if we still want to hear that music? So I think that's where we come from, but I don't know why that's not happening in Italy. I'm not sure. I guess that's for you guys.
I think culturally, there's cultural differences. Like, we come from a different kind of musical background. We're more keen on melodies, and like big melodies, and probably not so heavy guitars. And probably is that it's more of a cultural thing. But a lot of music is coming out of the British Islands at this moment, it looks from the outside, it looks like it's a scene without being a scene, without you guys acknowledging the fact that it could be a scene. How do you feel about this? Do you feel part of something?
Yes and no, because we're from Northern Ireland, as you said, and we kind of are part of the UK scene, but we're also part of the Irish scene, and everything kind of melds, and then it also is very separate. That's a really horrible way to describe it. But so we feel like, yes, we're part of something, but I think when you're in the middle of something like a scene, you don't even realize it. It's actually people that are observing it from the outside are going to be able to comment more on that. Claire, what do you think? I mean, there's a good local scene in Northern Ireland. Maybe Claire can chat about that, but
I mean, yeah, the music scene in Northern Ireland is amazing. It just seems like everybody that is in a band, or has been in a band, or will be in a band, But yeah, we do feel kind of separate from British. We are included in the British music scene, I guess. We're included in the Irish music scene, but Belfast is its own little thing, and there's some amazing stuff coming out of it.
I could tell from the album and from the lyrics of the album, it's a different world, because the topics, the subjects of your songs are, I think, well, it looks like they're directly connected to, I don't know if it's social issues in Northern Ireland, or just subjects that have a lot to have roots in Northern Ireland. But since I don't know your social issues, then can you please explain, like, what are you trying, where's the connection?
Yeah. Well, first of all, to explain Northern Ireland, you'd need like 2 years, but at least. But I guess, like, for instance, it's Bloody Soil you played tonight. You know, the basis for that song is really like a letter to, or not a letter to Northern Ireland. It's just a comment on Northern Ireland, because, you know, all of us grew up in a thing called we call it the Troubles. You know, at Northern Ireland was in the middle of a conflict for 25 years, and we grew up in that, all of us guys, and it's ended in 1998 to some extent with the Good Friday Agreement, and kind of the people that were fighting sort of stopped, but it's continued in little ways, and it's become more political than you know, terrorism. But it's a very unique place, and I guess we are just a product of that. So it's very normal for us to talk about these things, even just in little comments. Like Bloody Soil is just a tiny comment about, you know, the fragility of Northern Ireland, because we're always just in a place of, is something bad going to happen? Is this conflict going to start again? It always feels like we're just a little moment away from that. So that kind of gives an energy to it that I think is reflected in the album and in the songwriting. Claire, what do you think? Is that a good explanation?
I mean, yeah, I think that's perfect. I think the Troubles are coming from a place like this. You know, it really does inform a lot of people's music from here, whether they're saying it explicitly or not. Even the fact that there's a large punk scene here, you know, people have a lot to be angry about from here. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Why is there? I don't know. Punk came out and it was the word spoken by some artists who could basically just put into themselves what the working class needed. So is it because you have like quite a big working class, and so it's probably who you're speaking for them? They need somebody to be their speakers.
I think it's social, like, issues like that, yeah, and it is. But I think it's also here. It's a very religious country, and the conflict is religiously motivated. So you've got two sides, and I think, actually, both of those sides there's a working class community there that get kind of used and brought out against each other. So I think a lot of the time for New Pagans, there's issues, but there's also issues that aren't just about class. They're really about, for instance, women's rights in Northern Ireland.
Yeah, I read that.
We're kind of very slow on, you know, even abortion rights and things like that. I mean, we've only recently got that passed, and it was due to a loophole, really. Not a loophole, but a sort of government loophole thing. And it wasn't to do with our political leaders taking responsibility. It was just something that happened because of British protocol. So it's just so annoying, and it's frustrating because we're really behind. And this we were tiny. If you look on the map, we're really small. But Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, is so much more forward thinking in their government than we are. So I think we just struggle because we're in between two more liberal places, and we're stuck in the middle. And I call it the Bible Belt, which you would hear people referring to, you know, Texas in America as the Bible Belt of America. But Northern Ireland's like the Bible Belt of the British Isles. That's kind of the best way to explain it. So there's a lot of power that these churches and organizations have, and the political parties are very religious. So it's especially the ones in
conservative.
Yeah, they're very conservative. Yeah. Shockingly. So I mean, Claire could probably talk about other issues that, you know, that they're conservative on.
I mean, they are conservative. Like, I mean, down from the smallest things to the party who are in leadership, not condoning like conversion therapy. They're very homophobic. Let's just say, you know, like they're homophobic. They're
sexist.
They're homophobic. They hate women. They
hate you.
Well,
they hate. They're a party of hate.
What is
unfortunately,
what is they hate about women?
I think what Claire's saying is that their policies reflect a certain disdain towards women, like by not giving them authority of their own body
and inequality.
Yeah. Even our childcare. So here is a lot far behind than it would be in the UK or in the rest of Ireland. So women aren't even really encouraged to go back to work after they've had a child, through policies and the childcare that's available to them. So it's just stuff like that. I mean, you could go into the details. I think I'm glad I'm not a politician, but I think when you start writing songs about these issues, I've had to read up so much more. And the more I read about the government that I'm living under, the more frustrated I get. So I guess we just have to deal with it. And the way we New Pagans deal with it is just we write about it, we talk about it when we can, but we don't have any real, we don't have the answers, You don't
have the solution, but you expose the problem.
Yeah, we're just talking about it. That's all we can do, really.
In fact, I think the album has a kind of a female angle, point of view. It's like, it doesn't look like an album written by a guy. It sounds and then it reads like an album written by a woman, which I think for a change is it's something important, because probably, I don't know, 60% of rock listeners are guys, male. So I think it's very important that it becomes a challenge for us listeners in a way. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's really 65% of our listeners are male, which I always get really surprised about. But you can see on certain streaming things how many people, what the gender kind of breakdown is. I thought we would have been more appealing to women, but I am pleasantly surprised that so many guys aren't put off by some of the themes, because I talk about pregnancy, I talk about postnatal depression, I talk about all the things that maybe I wouldn't expect a young man or even an older man or a middle-aged man to even care about. But I think that's something that maybe was an unconscious bias of mine, that I didn't realize that so many men want to stand with women and they want to see women do well, and they also just love the music, and they actually love the topics as well, and they love talking about it. For me, it's been a very positive, since this album's come out, it's been a really positive reaction from, the male community everywhere.
I wouldn't really care if whether it's a song came, the lyrics came from a female or male angle. I would only care if the song had depth, if it spoke to me or not. And so I didn't find the lyrics for Harbor any, difficult or annoying for me at all, because you were telling us about your pregnancy, and I thought it was very deep. I thought it was really also very well written. You put it down really well. It was very subtle, like the little kick, the wish for a little kick, and then this kind of this huge love affair, but at the same time the pain and the anguish of being in such a situation when you just want to give birth, and I find it really interesting. I thought it's great for a guy to read something like that, because maybe he might never have the chance to read anything like that, and he might never be a father and know what a woman would feel. So I think it's really important to have that type of angle, especially because it's very credible. It's all within a music that it's credible. So it's you're not the Spice Girls. I don't know. Maybe it would have been interesting, to have them write something like that. But obviously they never did it because it doesn't fit the project. But I think it suits you.
Thank you. Do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, I love Lindsay's lyrics as well. That she's really poetic with it.
No, she is.
Yeah, no, really, really.
Well, I'll take it.
Yeah, you're like, okay, stop.
Yeah.
I got something for you, Claire, too, because we, and when I say we, I mean a lot of like former musicians or musician lovers. We love your bass playing. It's outstanding. It's some of the best. It's some of the best we've heard in time in rock bands.
Thanks.
it's awesome. The sound is so round and full and great. It gives so much satisfaction. So what I'm going to ask you is like, what's your background and how you came up with a sound so big, so huge? And at the and at the same time, I want to ask you, like, if you're surprised by the fact that most alternative rock and indie rock nowadays, especially the one coming from let's say England, Ireland, even when it's more like abstract, like, I don't know, Black Country New Road or Dry Cleaning, there's a lot of bass. And the difference between, I think, alternative music today and alternative music in the 90s is that the bass is more present. It sings more. It plays melodies. And we weren't used to this. I think it's a whole sound revolution that is happening right now. Are you aware of this? Am I saying something that it's absolutely my idea, or do you feel like it can be really happening?
Well, no, I mean, I listen to a lot of music where like the bass is very prominent. You know, a lot of post-punk music is very like bass driven. So yeah, I mean, you know, even a lot of punk rock. I mean, the Ramones, Dee Ramone is just like an amazing bass player. So,
but never really melodies. It's more, you know, in the groove of the song of what
it's driving.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess with a bit of a resurgence in like post-punk bands and stuff now, bass players are becoming a bit more noticed, especially like bands like Idols as well. I think the bass player in Idols is amazing and a real, like, you know, really important part of that band. But yeah, I mean, I got started playing bass just accidentally.
Did you come from a more melodic instrument?
No, I mean, this is the only instrument that I have played. I had a couple of friends who were in a band and they needed a bass player and they asked me to play bass. And I'd never played bass before, but I just said, okay.
Okay, so, where did you find the taste for melodies, for, you know, for being so present, not only sounds-wise, but, you know, melody-wise?
I mean, I don't know. That's just what we come up with, you know. That's just they're just the bass lines we come up with. It's not something that I've like honed a skill in, you know. It's just whatever comes out. And like I said, like this is the only instrument that I play. Well, I play a little bit of guitar, but even it's not worth mentioning. But
some of the songs start with the bass, so maybe that makes a difference, you know.
Yeah, maybe that does make a difference. Yeah.
Do you work a lot on your sound? Or is it like the producer's merit?
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of producer's merit.
Oh, come on, it's got to be you.
No, I know that I like it. I know what I like it to sound like. So
she's like, I need more of that or whatever. No, you have control over that too. But also the style of your playing is very unique. I think just the way.
Yeah, but it's not something I trained. To do. It's just literally how I taught myself to play.
But it stands out. It's honestly, it's amazing. And
well, thank you.
I checked your live your songs from live sessions, and you know that cannot be the producer's merit because he's not around there. So it's got to be you. It's got to be, and it's beautiful. Like also the musicianship. So let's talk even about the three other musicians. The musicianship within the band and while listening to the album, it's glorious. When I say it's a straightforward record, it's because it hits you like a wall of bricks. It's really big, and there's energy. You can tell there's passion. It's intense. So how did you work on the album? Like, did you rehearse a lot and then take it to the studio, or was a lot of it created into the studio?
It was a weird journey because we started off in a few different studios in Northern Ireland, and we just couldn't get the sound that we wanted from those experiences. And so we ended up recording most of it, like about 65-70% of it on our own in our practice room. But it was produced by our guitarist, 𝗂𝗪𝗦𝗧𝗘, and he, like, from the start, he was always going to produce it, but like he took even more of a dominant role, and it really paid off because he just I think he nailed it. You know, we're all really, really happy. He actually ended up mixing it as well, which he says he's never going to do again. It took so long. I think mixing your own band is a bad idea, but he really did a good job. And
was it a bad idea? Were there conflicts with the other members when taking decisions?
Just like he was in the middle of another project, and obviously new Pagans don't pay him to do that because it's his van. So he just had too much on. So he was working like 24/7 for a period of 2 months, and it was really bad. It was really bad.
That was his choice. He wanted to do that. So
he wanted to do it, but he said he's never doing it again. So he might change his mind.
He knew there was no money involved. He knew it from the start. Yeah.
But what we realized is we're very picky. We know exactly what we want it to sound like. And so we've had to now, and we've ended up, our other guitarist, 𝗂𝗪𝗦𝗧𝗘, has started to build a studio, and it should be finished in the next couple of months, and we'll be recording soon in there. So we've kind of had to build this thing ourselves because nobody else could create it for us, and we were just getting more and more frustrated and wasting lots of money. So we've kind of figured out how to do it now, and we've, you know, instead of investing the money in another studio, we can kind of invest the money in just getting the equipment that we need to make the sound that we want. So I think that's not for every band, but I just think we have the right experience in the band with 𝗂𝗪 and Alan and Connor, the drummer, as well. And it just, they're all obsessed with mics and drums. Drums are like, they spend the most amount of time on drums, and I always fight with them about it. So they've started to invest in like special mics for me and everything, but I usually was just given this shit mic at the end. And they've got all these like tiny little mics for the drums, but it's been really good for Claire and I, because we can't take credit for it really, because we weren't particularly interested in that side. But I think now we're getting more and more into it, aren't we, Claire?
Yeah. More hands-on time with it.
That's boys being nerds, and you know, just girls being girls. It's just how it is.
I know. We don't want to be gender.
No, but
we're nerds about other things.
I believe
we do nerdy stuff about like the visuals.
Oh yeah.
And we kind of call it like the art department. Claire and I are the art department, so we just take control of all the visuals, and the boys don't have any say in that. So, but
beautiful, it's equally split. I like that. But honestly, I didn't expect it to be a self-effort. So knowing that it's the band that did it all, and that you actually found your balance in doing this, I think it's awesome, because if I would challenge anybody to listen to this album, not think that there's some high-end producer working on it. You know, it sounds full, and it gives, like, from a musician point of view, it gives you a lot of satisfaction. It's full, it's real, it's how a rock album should sound. And you mentioned Idols, for instance. I love their latest albums. It's beautiful. It's a beauty. And it's also so well produced, but it sounds like there's a bit of an artifact there. You know, it's true, but it's not that honest. Your album is true and honest, which is, I think it's awesome. That's the way to go. I mean, don't lose that attitude, even a musical attitude, which I think is really important. It's beautiful. About some of the lyrics. Well, we discussed Harbor. I think it's a great song. One song I really had a lot of fun with. I mean, we have the Vatican here, so we know about being Catholics and Christianity and everything. But luckily enough, we know how to keep a distance from it. Mm-hmm. Luckily enough, I mean, we can see how they try to tamper with our lives, but we know how to keep our lives separated. Christian Boys made me laugh a lot. I thought it was really funny. It's a genuinely funny song. I played that song a couple of times, and Christian Boys are the worst. It's it's very funny for an Italian. It's a funny thing to hear. So What's the story behind that track?
Well, again in Northern Ireland, there's as I said, I think because we explained the whole Northern Irish being quite a religious, like the Bible Belt of Great Britain and Ireland. I think that I just wrote it because I was so sick of hearing stories about, Christian leaders in Northern Ireland and their extramarital affairs with the people that I knew. So I just seen this hypocrisy and I just wanted to write a song about it. And it comes from a really angry place, but it's quite funny that it makes you laugh. But it also kind of is funny because you're not meant to say that Christian boys are the worst.
Okay, no, we are allowed to mock priests and nuns and religious figures. We tend to do that. It's but I understand that it's more difficult with you guys, and so if you take a stand like that, it's your own responsibility, and it's it's like an act of, I don't know, it's a riot or something. I don't know how they might consider it, but
yeah, I mean, we didn't get. I expected really. We had a few tabloid newspapers try and get out the real, they wanted me to name the Christian leaders and stuff.
So you didn't get in trouble. You didn't get in trouble for it.
No, I mean, if I'd named the Christian leaders, maybe I would have got in trouble. But no, I didn't actually know who the names of the people involved anyway. It was just stories that I'd heard, and but stories with truth in them, and I just got frustrated. I just felt like I feel like in our communities we need to protect each other. And sometimes these people go after the most vulnerable, and it was kind of just a comment on that. But it is also, I love playing it. I think Claire's probably the same. It's such a good energy, and when you're in Northern Ireland and you play it, everyone goes at the end, because they're there's so much they understand it in the context, so it makes most sense there. And it's got it got a better reaction than I thought. There was a lot of people that contacted me personally and said that they were just really thankful that somebody had written a song like this. So it was really positive. There wasn't very much negative, which I thought we would have got, but we didn't. Maybe I was slightly disappointed that we didn't get.
Made us laugh. You made us laugh. You made us smile. So that was an accomplishment for sure.
But maybe when we go back to live gigs, they're going to stand outside and protest.
Well, hopefully we get picketed. Yeah.
I mean, if that happens, I'll be happy.
That would make my day.
Yeah, we'll discuss the live factor in a short while. First, I want to talk about the album and how are you planning to work on for your next album. If you've written something already, if it's in the making, what's going on with that?
It's in the making, and we're really excited about it. Actually,
how far into it are you?
We are
halfway there. Halfway.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is it any? Are there differences? Can you tell it's a different work, or is it just just an imaginary line from the first album to this one?
I hope we're challenging ourselves to write even better songs. So nothing will get through that we personally don't think is better than what we've done previously. So that's really all I can say about it. I think the way we work as well, we don't sit with a concept and then it just happens. And so
how do you write songs? What's the process? What's the workflow when you write songs? Usually
the band kind of come up with the music, and then I'll be there sometimes when it happens, or I'll sometimes I'm not there, but they come up with stuff, and then they send it to me. As particularly during lockdown, it was sent to me, and then I would just work on the lyrics and the melodies myself. Cara and I would chat about that, and he sometimes changes stuff and the structure changes of the actual song. So it's this really weird process, but I very much do it on my own. I'm quite nervous and I don't like to do it in front of the band. Just can't. I can't like stand and sing in front of the band and making up stuff. I just won't come out. So I have to like create this lovely, safe environment for myself and have a wee wine and a candle going and nearly like a religion, like even though I'm anti-religion, it's like a religious kind of ceremony.
Yeah, it's like a ritual.
Yeah, like a ritual, and then it just happens. And that could be just something that instantly just comes out and it's great, or it could be like I'd have to go back to that song a few times, and then I take that back to the band, and the band go, "Well, they haven't said a shit yet." So
They normally say yes.
Claire,
it's always great.
They're always surprised because I always pick weird things.
Were you surprised with the reaction, with the reaction around the album? Like, BBC Radio 1 loved it, you know, and I don't know, 𝗓𝗪𝗏𝗏. I discovered you guys through 𝗓𝗪𝗏𝗏, and I'm very curious. As I don't care what they write, I just take what they highlight and then I go listen to it, and it was love at first sight. I loved it immediately. But were you surprised with with how people reacted to your album? Because you turned into like a solid band to watch. Was it surprising for you,
Claire?
Well, I mean, it was great to see reviews coming through in the first couple of days after release, and it was a good review. It was an amazing review. It just completely blew us away. And with the album, first pressing of the album selling out, it's just unbelievable. It's been an amazing response.
Well, you got fans in Italy, so keep it in mind if you have to, I don't know, schedule a tour or something.
We will.
I would be there tomorrow if I could. So
yeah, gotta wait for that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
About the touring and the live side of your music, how much has the lockdown impacted on that? I mean, totally, or you actually managed to do a few gigs and see how the reaction of the audience was to your material. How did that go?
We haven't been able to play live to an audience since March last year, but we've done like a live stream online.
So that was right before. Well, I mean, no, that was a year before releasing the album, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was tough, but we had just recorded the album, so we did get one UK tour in just before lockdown, like literally the week before. So we got to play all the songs there. So that was great. And that kind of kept us going just mentally, I think. And then we just focused the whole time on the lockdown. We just had to focus on getting the album, the rest of it recorded, and mixed, and then out to the record label. So we had a lot of just writing, and that's kind of why we're so prepared for the next album, because we've been writing so much. But we also have done a few live shows, one recently for the Nerve Centre in Derry, and it was really good, and it was so good to play again live, but we had to spend a whole month practicing because we hadn't played in so long.
What was the deal with the audience during the pandemic? It's got to be weird. How did they deal with them? How did they put the audience? How did they make it happen?
The live stream.
Oh, it was a live stream.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
It was
I thought it was in front of a live audience.
No. The only people in the room were the lighting guys and the videography stuff. But no, we haven't played a gig to an audience since the album came out, obviously. So we can't wait, obviously, but it has to be safe and it has to be the right time. So we totally understand that, and we're just trying to be patient.
Are you going to be doing any festivals? Because I heard from other British bands that they'll be featured in festival bills.
Yeah, we've had a few opportunities, and we're deciding what to do about those, really. We have to make sure it's safe for all of us to go, because we've all, some of us have families, and it's more complicated now than just saying yes to stuff. But we do have live shows, announcements coming up, so hopefully they happen. That we're being optimistic.
What do
Isn't
you
that right, Claire?
What do you think of live streams, like paid live streams? Do you think it's like it's a good way to go for now? Or do you think it should be free? Yes. You know, you buy a ticket and you watch a show.
Yeah, I mean, I think musicians have to find a way. We were able to do the live stream a few weeks ago. We actually got paid by the venue. The Nerve Centre paid us, so we didn't have to charge the audience any money, and that was kind of funded through the Arts Council. But I think it's fine. Like, you know, musicians have to survive, don't they? I mean, Claire, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I paid for one live stream over lockdown, and it was actually the Idols one, because it was right at the start, and I just wanted to see what bands, what live music was going to be like then for the foreseeable future. And it was amazing.
Did you feel like you were part of it?
It was, yeah. I mean, I loved it, but I think that's probably something to do with the energy that Idols put across in their live performances anyway. Because I watched them live at Glastonbury from the year before, and it was just one of the best concerts I'd ever seen. So yeah, I paid for that, and yeah, I just wanted to see what, because for a year there, that was how, you know, musicians were making their living, really. Yeah.
Lindsay, I read in an interview that during lockdown you kind of felt the need of changing the subjects and turning them into more like uplifting subjects that people needed to be helped psychologically. So maybe listening to happy music or music with happy lyrics would have helped them more. Is that the direction that we're going to find on the new album?
Yeah, but my happy is like another person.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yes. You're happy. Yeah.
No, I mean, I am actually quite a giddy, as you can see, and happy person. But I think when we're in New Pagans, we take on this different persona. We kind of look quite serious, like we're not enjoying ourselves on stage sometimes. But it's just that we're so, like, we just love it, and we do get, like, it's a different kind of energy. But I do think, we've written some songs that I think are uplifting in a New Pagans way, but not in a like we're not U2.
It's not Dua Lipa.
We're not Coldplay.
Yeah.
But we're like in a rock way, and I think there's some amazing songs that, you know, even songs that are sad can be very uplifting, or even songs that are angry can be really uplifting. So I think, I don't know if it will translate, but I hope it does, because I think for me, some of the songs that we're writing at the minute are like, they make me go like you want to punch the air, but we'll see.
I'm very curious about the new lyrics. I'm very curious about your definition of happy. I mean, you're being happy.
You'll see when it comes out.
No, but you're right. You seem like a very happy person. So it's, you know, I need to know why, how it turns into kind of sad music, but not really sad, maybe probably angry music, right? Yeah.
Well, I think I'm just a very passionate person. So if something annoys me, like, I'm going to write about it, and that's probably why all these songs are kind of a wee bit angry. But some of them aren't. I mean, the song Lily Yates is an angry. Admire is a love song, which is the only one we have at the moment. So maybe we need another love song.
Yeah.
Where do you Harbour isn't sad, it's kind of uplifting too. So there's always like there's a darkness, but it's, I think.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, I like that. That's what probably attracts me to your music and your lyrics, probably because we all have that type of darkness, and we love to kind of spoil it in a way. So it's, about guitar rock in general, okay, if I listen to your album, I don't feel like you guys are reinventing the wheel or anything, but I'm not, actually, from my point of view, I'm not asking you to reinvent the wheel, and I'm not the wheel. I'm not asking anybody to do something different in rock, because I think it's really hard. We've mixed it with everything. I think it's been conjugated in all sorts of ways. So I think it's more like genuinity, like being honest to yourself when you do something. So, do you like or hate when you get compared to the likes, I don't know, of the Sonic Youth or Pixies? Do you think it deprives you of your merit? And so it's just an easy mind connection, but it doesn't really, it doesn't give you the right credit.
Claire?
I mean, I love Sonic Youth, so it's like, that's, you know, pretty massive to be compared to them. You know, we're not trying to be Sonic Youth. We're not trying to sound like Sonic Youth, but obviously that their sound has infiltrated us through being massive fans. So if somebody says, you know, it's music in the vein of Sonic Youth or the Pixies or any other sort of 90s bands like that, well, that's a massive compliment.
Yeah, we're very happy with those definitions. We don't care, and I think a lot of some music for me that I hear on the radio that people think are like edgy or whatever way you want to describe it, contemporary. You can always trace it back to something. It's just that rock was so in the 90s especially, everybody knows what that sound is, so it's always sounds familiar to us. Whereas, you know, you can listen to bands that are being projected as really contemporary, and you can hear bands in the 70s and 80s and 90s doing exactly the same thing. It just maybe wasn't as popular in culture. So I think this idea that you have to be, like you said, like you don't have to be inventing anything. You can just do what you want to do really, really well. And that's kind of been our aim. I mean, I think we will experiment, but not like, we're not going to do anything too strange, because we love a good melody. We love it to be solid, like you described. We just love that sound. So why would we just try and mess it up just for the sake of it, which sometimes it feels people are doing.
You love your music genre and you play it. I think it's as simple as that. And
Yep.
I wouldn't ask for more. And honestly, I think as long as it's genuine and not, fake or, just do it because you pretend to be something that you're not. Do you think that alternative rock or indie rock might chart again? We had the example of Dry Cleaning, like that fourth on the album chart in England, which I think is amazing. Like, we haven't had rock albums in the charts for a whole bunch of decades, years. But yeah, I think it's now time. Probably, do you feel like it's time, or it might happen again?
I think so. I mean, I think we did that UK tour, and although it wasn't like there was loads of people there or anything, but the people that came were really good at kind of telling us about the local scenes that were around their area. And there seems to be like this build, and I think bands like Idols have really kind of brought that community together, and where they share music. They want something that's not pop music, which there's nothing wrong with pop. It's just that they want something a bit more gritty. So I think that and also kids. I mean, one of the best gigs we did in 20, was it actually just before lockdown? So 2020, but just before lockdown, was we supported another band from America. What's it called? Pally Royal. I always say their name wrong.
Palais Royale.
Yeah, Royale. But they had such a young crowd. It was an underage gig, and we were all blown away by how enthusiastic these kids were, about the music.
Yeah.
They were blown away by us. We were blown away. We were like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So I think I realized at that point that it's the next generation coming up, like the young ones are wanting this kind of music. A lot of them do anyway, and they want this energy. And there's, particularly in the UK and maybe in Ireland, there's like this sort of a bit of like a protest kind of taking authority of your own space and who you are. And, I think that all comes in part and parcel with the music, with this kind of music.
It's also been a year of, 2020 has been a year of great women to have the lead roles in music. Like, Fiona Apple. She released probably the best album of the year. Taylor Swift did great things. Phoebe Bridgers and many more. Also, Dry Cleaning. They have a female singer. So, do you think it's there's also more? I don't want to say there's more room for women in rock, but probably now we've gone beyond the fact that probably it's something for guys. That it's more, something that can be sang by women and be completely credible, I think. Did it surprise you to see so many women leading rock projects or alternative music projects?
Claire, do you want to answer that?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's surprising. I've always loved bands like the Breeders, like I was saying to Lindsay today, the Cardigans are like a massive band that I love. Like there have always been female rock bands. I don't think it's a new thing at all.
No, I think it's the percentage of successful.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think it has gone up, and I think it's just that we don't care anymore. We've gone past it, like you said, and I think that's a really positive thing. It doesn't matter what gender you are. If you make good music, people want to hear it, and they just take it for face value. And I think that's a really positive thing. But I think, like Claire said, it's always been there, and those bands are like some of the biggest bands. I mean, the Breeders were massive.
PJ Harvey.
Yeah, Hole. You've got all of PJ Harvey is one of my favorites. You've got all those amazing women that you kind of just look up to as well. There's plenty when you start like dissecting it. There's plenty there.
I read that your favorite lyrics are from "Running Up That Hill" by Kate Bush. No, Claire's.
Claire.
Yeah, was that me that said that? Yeah.
Okay, pardon me. Then your Claire's favorite lyrics were from Kate Bush. Can you imagine what sort of pioneer she was in the 80s? She's absolutely amazing. I first became aware of Kate Bush whenever I was a kid because my mom was really into Kate Bush, and I think it was just it wasn't just her music, it's her whole persona and her interpretation of her music and her aesthetic. She has it all together as one package. I think that's probably something that we try to take, and have like something that just makes sense visually and musically and lyrically. It all has to be like a cohesive thing. But yeah, I think it was what was the lyric that I said was my favorite? Running Up That Hill.
Yeah, from that song. There is thunder in our heart. I think it was probably that bit.
Yeah.
It's just so like evocative,
I just can you imagine how I don't know how hard it must have been to become Kate Bush in the early 80s. It's amazing. It's amazing. Like
she was so young as well.
Yeah. And weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, she wasn't really making pop music. She was making some very intelligent, witty, and clever music. So it's great.
I think there was more room in the late 70s and 80s to be weird and a pop star. I think. You think
more than today?
I think more so than today. I mean, we have people like Lady Gaga, and that's fine. I love Lady Gaga, but it was like you were saying about musicians being genuine. I feel like older bands, older pop stars, there was something more genuine about it than there is today.
Maybe. More time to get to that point.
Yeah, but more room. I think people just were allowed to be those weirdos. I mean, even people like David Bowie. David Bowie was crazy.
Oh yes, he was. He was.
I mean, there's nobody like him that exists now. Without it being a pastiche of David Bowie
or contrived.
Yeah.
Different in every album. A different artist every album. It's pretty amazing.
Good idea.
Back to you guys. Guys, you're not guys. Sorry, girls. I got one final question because I don't want to kidnap you. But do you have a favorite New Pagans song? Which is yours, Lindsay? Which is yours, Claire?
Mine is Yellow Room.
Why?
Why? I love playing it live. And I think New Pagans are, like, the album's brilliant, but I think we're even better live. So I love playing this song live. I just love the energy of it. I think the band, I just always feel really like energized afterwards. It's really good.
Also, lyrically, that song is got, it's about some pretty serious issues. Like
well, it's just a take on, you know, there's a book called The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman, and it was written in 1892 in New York, and it's the first time a woman wrote about postnatal depression. So the song is kind of after I read that book, I then wrote the lyrics to Yellow Room, and it's just a reflection of that kind of craziness that sometimes women go through. So it is a very dark kind of song, but I think there's like a lot of hope at the end, and it's not just dealing with the depression. It's kind of like, oh, I don't know. I just love it. Maybe that's weird of me to love it, but I do love it.
Claire, which is yours?
I think my favorite changes all the time. I mean, I agree. Yellow Room is amazing to play live. I think I really love Admire. I love the lyrics of Admire. I love the lyrics of Charlie. But to be honest, every time, and we have been writing new songs, but at the minute for the next album, every time we write a new song, it's instantly my new favorite of ours. So that's a good sign.
Is there a weak point in your album? Something you regret?
Regret. No, we took it out. We took it out. We had a song in there, and at the last minute, I said to Cara, I do not want that song going out. And he said, okay.
Why you thought it didn't fit?
I started to hate singing it. The rest of the band still liked it. Worker song, Claire.
Oh yeah.
But no, I just hated it. It didn't sound right. It didn't sound right to me anymore. I just felt embarrassed by it. So I think if you ever feel embarrassed, you should just get rid of it. And it was literally maybe an hour before it was pressed or something. Or no, It wasn't that bad, but it was
before we sent it away, finalized. Yeah,
I was
like, take that off.
We had to change the whole artwork and everything.
So it was very last minute. So Claire, is there a weak point that is on the album?
No, I mean, no, I don't think so.
Tell us.
No, I don't think so at all. Of course, I don't think so. I think it's great. I'm proud of all of it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't expect you to name one. I just wanted to know whether you felt like it was, you know, like this is the best we could put out, and
yeah, extremely proud of it. Yeah.
That's great. We proud of you too, and you know, it's been an absolute pleasure. So